I had one where the queen got up into the flow hive, and she started laying eggs in the flow hive. That was the problem. I had to get her out of there, put her back on the bottom, wait till all the bees hatched out, and then by that time, part of the season's gone. Bees are on a schedule, and you got to get ahead of them. And it's like they're on a railroad train, and they're zooming down the tracks, okay? And you got to get in front of them and switch the tracks your way.
What's the percentage, say, of queens to drones to workers? How does that all?
Well, the queen knows when she's laying a drone male, and she knows when she's laying a female. I mean, a worker. Percentage-wise, it's probably like 30% drones, if that, and the rest are all workers. The drones don't really do anything other than mate with the virgin queen. That's it. Okay, so they don't really need a lot of them, and the drones are allowed to go into any hive, anytime, anywhere. All right. So if you're a drone and you hatch out of this hive, you can go to another hive somewhere else, and they'll feed you. Okay? The workers, boy, they work. Unbelievable. Somebody else?
Are they trying to get out?
Yes. Well, no, wait. Wait, let me clarify that.
Repeat the question.
What was the question?
Are they trying to get out?
Oh.
Okay. The forager bees are trying to get out. This is hard for a lot of people to understand, but throughout a bee's life, it graduates through different jobs. Okay. And on day 20, it graduates to be a forager bee, and it flies out of the hive, and that's all it does until the day it dies, is get honey, nectar, propolis, water, whatever the hive needs, and brings it back. Boom, 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 boom. But before that, when they first hatch out, don't quote me on this, okay, they're, like, say, cleaner bees. They clean the hive. A couple days later, they're bees that feed the young and feed the queen. A couple of days later, they become bees that take the pollen, the nectar, and the propolis and the water from the field bees, and they pack it away. And I think it's like day 11, they become wax makers. They make wax for a couple of days. Okay? Then on like day 14 or 15, they fly out of the hive and they learn how to fly. All they do is orientation flights. They come out in front of the hive and they fly around like this. Ooh, look at this, the things on my back are for flying. Okay? All right? And then like day 18, 19, they're guard bees. They guard the front door. Right? We don't want any bees from another hive coming in here. So they have to sniff out all the robber bees. All right? Bees aren't nice to each other. Not at all. The weakest hive in the apiary, all the stronger hives are going to attack it and try to rob their honey from when there's no nectar out there. All right? Anyway, on day 20, the bees graduate to be forager bees. And they're the ones you see in your garden, in the flowers. They're flying all over the place. Okay, any more questions?
How often do you collect the honey?
The honey season is from probably like middle of June till maybe the end of September. And then it depends on if you have enough time to extract it all. But yeah, that's the honey. That's the season right there, from June, maybe like the end of June to the middle of September. And after that, you're not going to get much. And if you do, you should let the bees have it.
And how do you process it?
How do you process it?
Yeah.
Well, this box right here has a typical Langstroth beehive frame. It was invented by a man named Langstroth in the 1850s, and we're still using it because it works, all right? And it's this size, all right? And the box is comfortable to hold it. I would put a smaller box on top, they call them supers, and they would fill that full of honey, and that's what I'd harvest, all right? How do you harvest the honey? You have to wait until it's capped, okay? And the honey inside is at 18% moisture, because if you extract it and it's not above that, you run the risk of it fermenting, okay? Not good. What you do is you cut the wax cap off of the, it explains it in this poster over here. You cut the wax cap off, and you put it in an extractor. An extractor is nothing more than a centrifuge. And the centrifugal force pulls the honey out of the frames, and you don't want to destroy the wax. You want to keep the honeycomb, because you can put that back in the hive, and the bees will fill it back up. Right? And it takes the bees 7 pounds of nectar to make 1 pound of wax. Right? So it's a pretty big ratio there. And if they don't have to make wax, they're happy. But
where you live and where you have your operation, the proximity for the plants for the bees to get their nectar, is it far? Like
3 to 5 miles. They'll forage 3 to 5 miles around the hive.
Okay.
And the flowers don't produce nectar all the time. Okay, there's certain times of the day that the flowers produce nectar, and the bees figure out what time it is, and they'll show up with the bee in the heat. Be loud.
You said that they went through maybe their job.
What was that?
At which point in life do they take up the job of carrying the dead out of the house?
What was it?
Earlier you said that when a bee dies,
If a bee dies in the hive, they'll carry it out, yeah.
yeah, who carries it out? Does it matter what their job is?
Is that a
Well,
high job?
that's of their lifetime. Like say maybe day 8 or 9, their job is to clean the hive. They'll carry the bee out, and it's something to see. I mean, here's a bee carrying another dead bee, and it's going real slow because she's really overloaded. Get rid of that bee.
My question is, you mentioned honeybees an invasive species. The natural species for this area is a nascent bee. Do they compete?
No. Well, sure they do over what, nectar is out there, but do they go to war with each other? No. No. Not that I know. I never saw them fight. I've seen honeybees fight other honeybees for whatever.
Originally, you said you went to a barn and you gathered bees to start your hive, but you also mentioned about capturing swarm.
Yes.
How would you go about that? If they won't go to another nest, how would you go about doing that?
Well, the month of April, May, sometimes June, maybe even July, the bees will swarm. And what that is at the birth of a hive. What happens is they'll make a lot of queen cells, all right? And once they're capped, all right, they will take the old queen and fly off. Okay, that's called a swarm. And the new queen will hatch out, and she'll run around and kill her sisters. Only the strong survive. And when there's only one queen left, virgin queen, she flies out, she gets mated, she comes back, that's her hive. The